You guys really don't know when it's good or bad when it comes right down to it. You really don't know.
Moving on to this Schneidman article here. I got a quote for you guys that I want you to react to. Did Brian text me more than I texted him? Yeah, but did I ghost him? No, Rodgers said. I texted him back. There was back and forth that we had. So this is the story you want to go with. You're going to stand on this hill of austerity and say that arguably in the conversation of the best player in the history of the franchise, you're going to say that I couldn't get a hold of him and that's why we had to move on? Like, come on, man, just tell the truth. You wanted to move on. You didn't like the fact that we didn't communicate all the time. Like, listen, I talk to people that I like. Griff,
What a
help me out.
absolute madman. Well, first of all, uh, what an idiot for like, even if this is all true and 100% how he felt, which clearly it is, wouldn't you have some self-awareness and be like, there's no reason to say this? Uh, Matt Schneidman, I heard him talking about this article that he put out there, and he called Aaron Rodgers because he felt they had an okay relationship when he was in Green Bay, and he wasn't really expecting to get a response
Open
back. And
up a vein.
Aaron just, yeah, opened up to him. Like, what in the world? It just didn't need to be said. But you're going to stand on this hill of austerity. At what point was Brian Gutekunst standing on a hill of austerity? I don't understand where he's getting that from. He's got a very distorted view of the world from what I can tell here, and that's not commensurate with winning football games. Schmitty, I say that we got the better of this trade with the Jets. The one thing I didn't like is the what are we at, 65% of games is what
Perfect.
Aaron has to play. The biggest issue I have with it is if he doesn't play well enough, we might not get a first round pick.
Oh my God! If the 4-time MVP isn't going to play well enough, I'm gonna. If I could just reach through this damn screen and just wring your neck. Of course he's going to play. He's going to play the whole damn season. They wouldn't make that kind of investment
Eight
for
and
him
nine
not to
again,
play
Schmitty.
football.
Can he get to 8 and 9 again?
God bless it. Of course he can. They got a more
Well, what
competent
happened
team
last
over
year?
there. That team isn't they got it's a circus. And unfortunately, the zoo animals broke out. Aaron Rodgers couldn't tame everyone down, and so you got 8 and 9. That's unfortunate. The defense was lackluster at best, and you
If I
got to have some
remember, Rodgers didn't show up for mini camp. He had a screwy hair. I might have to get my daughter's hair bun out again so we can redo the hair
I'm
thing.
not saying the
And now
relationship
he
between
shows up in
Aaron.
New York, all clean cut, looking
Of
like
course, of
$1,000,000,
course.
shows up to mini camp, trying to build some rapport with his receivers.
You
Where
just
the hell was all that last year?
got out of toxic relationship. You're overweight. You hate your life, and then the next week you're like, all right, I'm gonna get on the treadmill. I'm gonna run a marathon in 2 weeks. Like that's where your mind goes. That's just human nature to do exactly what Aaron did. So to blame the guy, to throw stones, that's not right. He wasn't. It's a two-way deal, right? Like he had an issue with the franchise. They had an issue with him at the end. He got out of a bad deal, and he moved to what he believes is a better and greater thing for him in this time. And I firmly believe that that's what he did. And so maybe you do have a little more buy-in just because he feels that much better about himself.
To support Schmidt's point of view a little bit and maybe play devil's advocate, I have a tough time really fully giving Brian Gutekunst credit for the situation we found ourselves in this offseason. The fact that he drafted Jordan Love in the first place brought us to where we were to large extent. Now, he did try to undo that with the contract they had Rodgers sign. But I don't know if you can give credit to the guy for drafting Jordan Love and then saying, "Oh, look, we needed a quarterback. We knew this was going to happen." When clearly they didn't. They didn't know he was going to go win 2 MVPs, and they kind of provided a self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you have any pushback against that, or Schmidt, you might agree with that? But
I have a pushback against that if I can chime in here. I think the seeds of this were sown even in LaFleur's first year, Rodgers' body language with Coach LaFleur was piss poor, pitiful. He did not respect LaFleur as a head coach. He treated him as an underling. You could see the disdain in his face, the flipping his hands at the coach, and when he didn't like a play. And the Packers said, "Hey, we got to start making preparations here if his play falls off." And I think, we'll see. If Schmitty might be right if Jordan Love flops, but I think Goody did what he had to do, and he will rise or fall on how this works out with Jordan Love. If Jordan Love turns out to be the real deal, Goody will be hailed as a genius. And
Goody,
if it doesn't go well, then people will say, "Well, we should have kept Aaron around." But Aaron has shown me enough. He's still high on ayahuasca or something over there. I mean, okay, first of all, let's cover arguably greatest player in Packer history. How about 9-1 in the playoffs? How about five
oh
and
my,
seven in championship games? How about 5 championships in 7 years? How about the highest pass percentage when he retired in the history of the NFL? He can't touch Bart Starr's jockstrap. And his record in the playoffs is 12. I wouldn't even go into this if he hadn't opened up this ridiculous psychotic vein saying, "I don't talk to people I don't like." He's 12-10 in the playoffs. He's lost 4 NFC championships. He threw up all over himself against Tom Brady. He threw up against the 49ers, and he absolutely laid a turd against Detroit with the chance to go to the play. This parting was meant to be. It was time. It was time to move on. And you can call it Goody's fault or Aaron's fault. The Aaron was not the same. And I loved Aaron. I loved the Aaron who said in his first press conference when the press challenged him, "How come you didn't do this and didn't do that?" And he said, "You know what? I have to get better." I don't know where that guy is anymore. He's now touting himself as the greatest player in history, and therefore everybody should roll out the red carpet. So we got two different opinions on this, and it's good because it represents the fan base. But he's going to be done, Schmidt, in 2 years. He's done. So move on and let the next quarterback get his reign in Green Bay. Okay, Schmidt, you get your equal time now before we move on to projections for next year.
the guy that went 7-1, 9-1, whatever, he was playing against the WIAA All Stars and playing against guys that are ripping heaters and eating hot dogs at halftime. So just let's not get too
You
worked up
weren't
about a
alive
guy
then,
we're
buddy. You didn't
15.
see it.
All right.
Tom Landry was a pretty good coach. All
Len
right.
Dawson was
Chuck
ripping
Noll,
heaters, can confirm.
Hank Stram. It was a good old fashioned NFL, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. Well, you can say this. Pretty hard to argue with this, Schmidt. When Bart Starr was in his biggest games, he played his best. He has the second all-time passer rating in the playoffs, only to one player. His passer rating in the playoffs is 104. Only Mr. Patrick Mahomes is better. So, and I don't mean to run Aaron down. I don't. I loved his career. I loved every minute of it. He's a hell of a player. I just think he's really tarnished himself, and he can recover from it, and I hope he does. I wished he would take some fatherly advice. I thought about this. I'm damn near old. I am old enough to be his father. Aaron, take a little humility. Realize you had a great run in Green Bay. The reality is you weren't worth $50 million in Green Bay anymore. You weren't getting it done. And so move on. We wish you well with the Jets. End up your career on a high note. We'll bring you back in 5 years, when the Hall of Fame, have a big parade. But right now we move forward.